The Galactic Council had made exactly 3 mistakes that day. The first was assuming that humanity's representative would be intimidated by their 70-story obsidian tower of bureaucratic nightmares. The second was thinking their impenetrable interrogation vault would hold someone who thought duct tape and spite were legitimate engineering principles. The third, and by far the most spectacular, was locking Dr. Maya Chen inside a room she'd personally coded during her creative disagreement with the contractor who'd originally bid on the project. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. Let's rewind 6 hours. Maya Chen stepped off the diplomatic shuttle onto Station Zenith with the kind of confidence that made security officers nervous and politicians check their recording devices. At 5'3", with her hair pulled back in a bun that had given up on life somewhere around the third solar system, she looked less like Earth's chief technology advisor and more like someone's aunt who'd gotten lost on the way to a PTA meeting. The Zenith guard who greeted her, a 7-foot-tall crystalline being named Korthax, made the mistake of looking down at her with what could only be described as condescension, if rocks could be condescending, which apparently they could. Dr. Chen, the Council will see you regarding the unauthorized expansion of human territories into the restricted development zone. Maya smiled. It was not a nice smile. It was the smile of someone who'd once reprogrammed an entire space station's gravity systems to only affect people who didn't wash their hands after using the bathroom. True story. The sanitation compliance rate had reached 100% within a week. Korthax. "Buddy, my man!" She patted his arm, which made a sound like knocking on a marble countertop. First, it's Dr. Chen only when I'm in trouble with my mother. Second, unauthorized is a strong word. I prefer proactively liberated. Korthax's crystalline face did something that might have been a frown if geology could express emotion. The Council does not appreciate your species' cavalier attitude toward established boundaries. And I don't appreciate your species' attitude toward using 14-syllable words when upset would do. But here we are, living our best lives. The walk through Zenith Station was exactly as tedious as Maya had expected. Endless corridors of self-important architecture, each hall seemingly designed by someone who thought intimidating and good urban planning were the same thing. Species from across the galaxy scurried about, conducting the kind of business that looked important, but probably involved 17 committee meetings per decision. Maya had been to Zenith 4 times before. Each visit had ended with at least one species filing a formal complaint about her disruptive technological contributions. The last time, she'd fixed their quantum waste disposal system after they'd spent 3 years and 4 million credits failing to debug it. She'd solved it in an afternoon with what she described as basic conditional logic and mild irritation. They'd filed a complaint about her making their engineers look bad. She'd framed the complaint in her office. The council chamber was exactly what you'd expect from beings who thought decorating with ominous lighting was a personality trait. 12 representatives sat in an arc around a central platform, each positioned just high enough to be annoying. The Zolthrian representative, a being of pure energy contained in a crystalline matrix, flickered with what Maya had learned to recognize as smug anticipation. "Dr. Chen," the Zolthrian began, its voice resonating through the chamber like a gong made of self-importance. "You stand accused of expanding human settlements into 7 star systems designated as restricted development zones." "I stand accused of a lot of things," Maya replied, stepping onto the platform. "My high school principal accused me of rewiring the bell system to play sea shanties. My college dean accused me of teaching the cafeteria robots to critique people's food choices. My ex-husband accused me of being married to my work, which, fair point, my work doesn't leave its socks on the floor." The Vraxian representative, a being resembling a very judgmental octopus in a hovering tank, rippled its tentacles. "This is not a joke, human. You have violated the Controlled Expansion Protocol. The CEP was written by the Hitharians 300 years ago and hasn't been updated since," Maya said. I read it. The whole thing. It was like reading a stereo manual written by someone who'd never seen sound. Also, Article 7, subsection C clearly states restrictions apply to civilizations lacking quantum sustainable infrastructure, and I have 17 patents that say we're good. The Hytharian representative, who looked like a tree, had gotten a law degree and a bad attitude, rustled its branches indignantly. The spirit of the law, the spirit of the law, can arm wrestle the letter of the law and let me know who wins, Maya interrupted. I work in code. Code doesn't do spirit. Code does exactly what you tell it to, which is why half your systems run like they're powered by hamsters on lunch break. That got her 3 formal objections, 2 calls for order, and 1 species she'd never seen before that made a sound like a fork in a garbage disposal. The Zolthrian's flicker intensified. Your disrespect for this council is noted. Perhaps time and reflection will improve your attitude. Guards, escort Dr. Chen to Interrogation Vault 7. Maya's eyebrows went up. Vault 7? Really? You're going with Vault 7? It is escape-proof, Korthax rumbled, stepping forward with 2 other guards, designed by the finest security experts in the galaxy. You will remain there until you agree to cease your unauthorized activities and pay appropriate reparations. The smile that crossed Maya's face should have been a warning sign. It was the smile of someone who'd just been dealt 4 aces in a poker game they'd already rigged. Oh, this is going to be fun. The journey to Vault 7 took them deeper into the station's secure levels, past checkpoint after checkpoint, each one more elaborate than the last. Maya noted every security protocol, every scanner, every biometric lock, her smile growing incrementally wider with each one. The vault itself was impressive, she'd give them that. 20-foot thick walls of titanium alloy composite, surrounded by an energy field that could, according to Korthax's proud explanation, withstand a supernova at point-blank range. The door alone probably cost more than a small moon. Inside was sparse. A chair, a table, walls that seemed to absorb light, and absolutely no visible technology. It looked like someone had designed a room specifically to make you contemplate your life choices. The vault is completely isolated, Korthax explained with evident satisfaction. No communications in or out. No wireless signals. The air is recycled independently. The walls are sensor dampened. Even your human electromagnetic fields cannot escape. You are, effectively, removed from the universe. Maya walked in, turned a slow circle, and laughed. Actually laughed. It was the kind of laugh that made the guards exchange nervous glances with whatever they had that passed for eyes. Korthax, my geological friend, I need to know, who built this vault? The construction was contracted to TechCore Industries, a human corporation under strict council supervision. Every system was verified by our top security. Was the contractor by any chance supposed to deliver this vault 3 years ago but kept missing deadlines? Korthax's silence was telling. And did the council perhaps threaten to cancel the contract and demand penalty fees? More silence. And did TechCore, in a stunning display of fine will finish it, suddenly deliver the vault exactly to specifications in record time? Korthax's crystalline structure seemed to dim slightly. Maya's grin could have powered a small city. See, here's the thing about rush jobs from annoyed contractors. They deliver exactly what you asked for. Nothing more, nothing less. And if you didn't ask for certain things, well, that's on you. She walked to the eastern wall and placed her hand on it in a very specific pattern. Tap, tap, slide, tap, knock twice, tap, nothing happened. As I thought, Korthax said, the vault is... Maya rolled her eyes. Oh, for the love of... I'm calibrating, you impatient mineral. Give it a second. She repeated the pattern, this time slightly lower and to the left. A section of the wall shimmered and became transparent, revealing a hidden interface panel. The guards went very still. You see, Maya continued, her fingers dancing across the suddenly visible holographic controls. TechCore subcontracted the software portion to Chen Systems Integration. That's my company. Well, it's my cousin's company, but I do all the actual work because Jenny's better at talking to clients, and I'm better at not committing verbal assault during contract negotiations. The lights in the room shifted from oppressive interrogation chamber to moderately pleasant coffee shop. When TechCore was behind schedule and the council was breathing down their necks, they asked if we could expedite the security programming. We said sure. We delivered a system with every single feature specified in your 800-page requirements document. Every single one. She pulled up a holographic display showing lines and lines of code. We also added some features you didn't specify because you didn't say we couldn't, and I have opinions about security architecture. Korthax managed to sound strangled despite not having a throat. This is impossible. The vault was tested, verified. We had three independent security. You had three independent security firms test whether the vault did what you asked for, Maya corrected. It does. Every lock works. Every containment field functions. Every sensor operates exactly as documented. But nobody asked if there were any administrative backdoors, because why would you ask about something you didn't know to look for? She pulled up another interface. Now, let's see what we've got here. Oh, nice. Full station access from this terminal. That's convenient. Did you know that from this room, I can control basically every human-designed system in this station? Which, by the way, is about 60% of the critical infrastructure because apparently we undercut everyone's bids. Korthax moved toward the door. I will inform the council. The door sealed with a heavy thunk. Or you could stay and we could chat, Maya said pleasantly. I've locked the vault from the inside, which, according to your own security protocols, can only be overridden by a council majority vote that requires a quorum of 9 representatives. How long does it usually take to gather a quorum? 4 hours, one of the other guards whispered. 4 hours, Maya repeated. Great, that gives us time to discuss some things. She sat on the table, legs swinging. Let's talk about the controlled expansion protocol. The Hytharians wrote it when humans were still figuring out which end of the rocket to light. It's outdated, restrictive, and honestly kind of racist. Speciesist? Whatever. It's discriminatory, is my point. She pulled up a star chart. These 7 systems you're mad about, they're in unclaimed space. Actually unclaimed. I checked. 200 years ago, they were marked as restricted development because they were near a Zolthrian commercial route. That route hasn't been used in 80 years. I have the traffic logs. Another display. The restrictions say we can't develop them because we lack quantum-sustainable infrastructure. Friends, we invented 3 new forms of quantum-sustainable infrastructure in the last decade alone. I personally hold patents on 2 of them. The third one was my grad student's work, and she deserves all the credit for making fusion generators that fit in a briefcase. She hopped off the table and started pacing. Here's what's actually happening. The council doesn't want humanity expanding because we're new, we're fast, and we make you nervous. In the last century, we've gone from barely having a lunar base to establishing a presence in 40 systems. We did in 100 years what took most species 1,000. Because you are reckless, Korthax said. Dangerous. Dangerous how? We haven't started a single interstellar conflict. We've shared our technology with anyone who asks. We've helped solve infrastructure problems on a dozen worlds. The Vraxians' water recycling crisis? We fixed that. The Tellurian communication lag issues? Fixed. That weird thing where the Hytharian embassy kept playing polka music through the walls? Fixed. And you're welcome, by the way. That was a nightmare to debug. Maya pulled up another screen. But every time we expand, every time we innovate, every time we solve a problem you couldn't, there's another council hearing, another set of restrictions, another accusation that we're not following the proper procedures. She turned to face the guards directly. The proper procedures were designed to keep species like us small. You don't want dangerous neighbors, you want predictable ones. The Zolthrian's voice crackled through the vault's communication system. Dr. Chen, you will release the guards and surrender yourself immediately. I'll release the guards, Maya said, but I'm not surrendering. I'm renegotiating. She hit a command and the door unsealed. "Gentlemen, you're free to go. Tell the council I'll be staying in my nice, comfortable vault until they're ready to have an actual conversation about updating the SEP." The guards hesitated. "Go on," Maya encouraged. "I've got snacks. I programmed a matter compiler into the wall's secondary system during beta testing. I can make nachos. Does anyone else in this station have the capability to manufacture nachos from raw atoms?" "I think not." After the guards left, Maya sealed the door again and settled into the chair she'd modified to be significantly more comfortable. The council predictably tried everything. They attempted to override the door locks. Maya's system blocked them. They tried to cut power to the vault. Maya's system had independent power supplies she'd installed as a safety backup. They tried to hack the interface. Maya's security protocols made their attempts look like a toddler trying to solve a calculus problem. 6 hours into what the station began calling the Vault Incident, Maya was eating nachos and streaming a movie from Earth. She'd also taken the liberty of fixing a critical flaw in the station's oxygen recycling system that would have caused a cascade failure in 3 months. But nobody knew about that yet. The council, meanwhile, was in chaos. The Vraxian representative was arguing that they should just cut through the walls. The Hytharian was insisting on following proper legal procedures. The Zalthrian kept flickering in what Maya had learned was the energy being equivalent of stress. Finally, after 8 hours, the Zalthrian's voice came through the communication system again. "Dr. Chen, what are your terms?" Maya paused her movie. "I'm glad you asked. First, we convene an actual committee to review and update the SEP. Not a symbolic committee, a real one with the authority to make changes. Second, that committee includes human representation. Third, we establish clear, objective criteria for system development that apply equally to all species. Fourth, you publicly acknowledge that humans are in compliance with current regulations regarding the 7 disputed systems. And if we refuse, then I stay in here. It's comfortable. I've got entertainment. I can synthesize food. I've already hacked into your infrastructure enough to keep myself informed about station news. Oh, and I've set up a dead man's switch that will publish every security flaw I've found in this station to the galactic network if I don't check in every 24 hours. You've got some embarrassing vulnerabilities, by the way." The silence that followed was profound. "This is blackmail," the Vraxian finally said. "This is negotiation," Maya corrected. "Blackmail would be if I threatened to release the information regardless of what you do. I'm offering you a choice. Update your archaic restrictions and treat humanity as an equal partner, or explain to the galaxy why your impenetrable security station has more holes than a space cheese. Yes, I know space cheese isn't a thing. I'm workshopping the metaphor." 3 hours of deliberation followed. Maya could hear the arguments through the wall, which she'd helpfully configured to allow one-way audio. The council was split. Some wanted to make an example of her. Others recognized that she'd essentially backed them into a corner with their own bureaucracy. The Hytharian representative, surprisingly, was the one who broke the deadlock. "Perhaps the human has a point. Our protocols were designed centuries ago for different circumstances. We have treated them as immutable when they are merely traditional. Tradition without reason is just old mistakes on a pedestal." Maya made a note to send the Hytharian a fruit basket. Did plant people like fruit baskets? She'd figure it out. The Zalthrian finally spoke. "Dr. Chen, the council agrees to your terms with the following conditions. The review committee will be convened within 60 days. Human representation will be included. However, you will also submit your own technology to a security review to ensure no other systems have undocumented features." Maya grinned. "Deal, but I'm doing the security review. Trust me, you don't want anyone else trying to audit my code. The last person who tried sent me a 14-page document that was mostly just screaming translated into technical language." Additionally, the Zalthrian continued, "you will assist in upgrading our security protocols to prevent future incidents." "Now you're talking." I'll need full access to your infrastructure, a team of engineers who can keep up with me, and a coffee machine that doesn't produce what tastes like motor oil filtered through regret." Agreed. Maya unsealed the vault door and stepped out to find half the council and about 30 security personnel waiting. She waved cheerfully. "So, who wants to start with the tour of your system vulnerabilities? Fair warning, we're going to be here a while, and some of you are going to experience emotions ranging from embarrassment to existential horror about your life choices." The Vraxian's tentacles drooped. "How bad is it?" "Put it this way," Maya said. "I could have sealed the council chamber, changed everyone's environmental settings to random incompatible atmospheres, and played Never Gonna Give You Up through every speaker in the station. I didn't because I'm a professional, but the capability was there. Why didn't you inform us of these vulnerabilities?" Maya's expression became serious. "Because every time I've helped you, you've treated it as me showing off or trying to make your people look bad. You filed complaints instead of thank you notes, so I documented everything, kept it secure, and waited. If you'd treated us like partners instead of problems, I would have told you years ago." She started walking toward the exit, then paused. "Here's the thing about humanity that makes you nervous. We're not actually reckless. We're optimistic. We see a problem and we think, I can solve that. We see a barrier and we think, I can get around that. You've been flying through space for millennia, and somewhere along the way, you forgot that kind of thinking is what got you out here in the first place." The Hytharian rustled thoughtfully. "Perhaps we have become too comfortable with our established methods." "Maybe," Maya agreed. "Or maybe you just needed someone to come along and break into their own interrogation room to remind you that rules are tools, not religion. Either way, I've got a station to debug and nachos to finish. Who's buying the first round of coffee?" 3 months later, the controlled expansion protocol was revised. The new version was 70 pages instead of 800, written in clear language, and included objective criteria that applied to all species equally. Humans were granted full rights to develop the 7 disputed systems, along with a formal apology from the Council. Maya Chen received a commendation for innovative diplomatic problem-solving, which she had framed next to her collection of complaints. She also received a consulting contract to overhaul Zenith Station's security infrastructure, which she accepted on the condition that they never again use the phrase user-friendly to describe something with a 40-step authentication process. The interrogation vault became something of a legend in galactic diplomatic circles. It was eventually converted into a conference room named Chen's Paradox, with a plaque that read, "A reminder that the best security system is useless if you don't know who programmed it." Korthax, surprisingly, became one of Maya's regular contacts. Turns out that once you've been locked in a vault with someone, professional relationships become easier. He sent her a message 6 months after the incident. "Dr. Chen, I have discovered another flaw in our sensor network. Before I report it to the Council, I thought I should ask, did you also program this system?" Maya's response was immediate. "Define program. If you mean, did I design the core architecture during a contract dispute 3 years ago, then yes. If you mean, did I intentionally leave exploitable vulnerabilities, then absolutely not. I left documentation oversights, completely different." What is the difference? An exploitable vulnerability is sloppy work. A documentation oversight is someone else not reading the manual. I'm insulted you'd suggest I do sloppy work. Korthax's reply took several minutes. "I am uncertain if you are joking." "That's the beauty of it, buddy. Neither am I. As for the 7-star systems, human colonies thrived there. They established quantum-sustainable infrastructure that exceeded even Maya's designs, shared their advancements with neighboring species, and generally proved that humanity could expand responsibly when given the chance. And in a small office on Earth, Maya Chen hung one more item on her wall. It was a formal diplomatic note from the Galactic Council, thanking her for her contributions to interspecies cooperation. Right below it, she hung a screenshot of the Vault's control panel with a caption she'd added, When they lock you in a room you designed, make sure you're the one with the key. Her assistant asked her once if she regretted the way things went down, if she'd rather have solved it through proper channels and diplomatic discussions. Maya had laughed, the same laugh that had echoed through Vault 7 on that memorable day. Proper channels take years and accomplish nothing. Sometimes you need to lock yourself in a room of your own design and refuse to leave until people remember that cooperation beats control every time. She leaned back in her chair, feet on her desk. Besides, I got a 3-year consulting contract, a diplomatic commendation, and a reputation as the human who broke into her own prison cell. That's what I call a successful business trip. Did you really have a dead man's switch that would release all the security flaws? Maya's smile was enigmatic. What do you think? I think you're scary. Good. Fear is a good starting point for respect. Now get out of here. I've got a meeting with the Tellurian ambassador about their encryption protocols, and I need to prepare my presentation on why using password 123 is not, in fact, a valid security strategy, even if it's in an alien language. Somewhere in the Zenith station, in a conference room that used to be an interrogation vault, a new generation of diplomats gathered to discuss interspecies cooperation. They sat in comfortable chairs around a table that could synthesize nachos from raw atoms, beneath a plaque that commemorated the day a human engineer taught the galaxy's most powerful council a lesson about the difference between security and control, and in the wall, hidden in code that would take a team of experts years to find, was a small subroutine that Maya had left behind. It didn't do anything malicious. It didn't compromise any systems. It simply logged every time someone entered the room and displayed a message visible only to those who knew where to look. The message was simple. Remember, the person you're trying to contain might be the one who built the container. Plan accordingly. Maya Chen never told anyone about that subroutine. She figured they'd find it eventually, or they wouldn't. Either way, it would be educational. After all, the best lessons are the ones you have to learn yourself, even if someone has to lock themselves in a vault to teach them. Retry.